Hello everyone, I hope you're doing fine at the beginning of this year. Our group is composed of me, Priscila, and Vitor, and today our presentation is about mutation, which particularly is one of our favorite topics in biology. So, we hope you like it. We made it with a bunch of love. All living beings have distinct and unique characteristics that are passed through generations. Many of them keep on, but there is always some change. As everyone knows, changes are extremely important to everyone and everything. The world is ever changing, so are we. We have to keep adapting to different conditions all the time so we can live better and deal with our challenges in a better way. Can you think about one case of a positive characteristic that has been passed through generations of some living being? Hint, you have one right in the palm of your hand. Correct. Our thumbs are a very interesting example of our evolution. They are opposite to the rest of our fingers, so we can use them to grab objects easily. When reflecting on evolution, I can think about other two examples of successful mutations. The giraffe's neck, which is very long, so the giraffes can eat the better tree leaves, and the cactus' ability to store water and live in the hottest climates of the world. As you can see, everything is changing, and it happens to all living beings.
First, we have to explain some terms. Nitrogenous bases. These are some of the molecules that compose the DNA and RNA. The nitrogenous bases are thymine, uracil, guanine, adenine, and cytosine. Both thymine and uracil match with adenine, and cytosine matches with guanine. It's important to remember that we can only find uracil in the RNA and thymine in the DNA. DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, is the genetic material itself. The DNA has the shape of a double helix, formed by a series of different nitrogenous bases, amines and pentoses. It contains all the information our cells need to synthesize the proteins that give our bodies all their characteristics. It's a very long molecule, so to be stored inside a cell core it has to be condensed into the form of a chromosome. RNA, ribonucleic acid. As the DNA, the RNA is formed by nitrogenous bases, amines and pentoses, but it has just one strand. And instead of thymine, there is uracil in the RNA. RNA molecules have a lot of functions. They are the ones responsible for delivering the genetic information to the cytoplasm and also putting everything together for protein synthesis. The chromosome is a condensed version of the DNA molecule. The codon is a gene sequence composed of 3 genes. Each codon codifies one amino acid during the protein synthesis. What is mutation? Mutation can be simply defined by a change in the genetic material. It can happen by substitution, insertion, or deletion. Since the day of our first cell is inseminated, they happen in our genetic material by mistakes during the cell mitosis, which can cause a lot of trouble inside our organism. But they can also be good in some cases. Substitution mutations are the ones that happen when a nitrogenous base is substituted by another one. Sometimes it can happen without affecting the proteins produced from a specific codon, and sometimes not. They can also be divided into two groups: transition and transversion. Transition mutations are the ones that happen when a nitrogenous base is substituted by another one of the same kind, purines to purines or pyrimidines to pyrimidines. Transversion ones are the opposite. They are the substitution of a nitrogenous base by another one of a different kind. Insertion and deletion mutations happen when a nitrogenous base is added or deleted on a sequence. The greater part of them cause trouble on the protein synthesis, and they can result in a codon that codifies a different protein, besides messing with the other codon sequences.
How does it happen? The mutation is a random event that can be spontaneous or induced. The spontaneous mutations appear naturally on the DNA. They're naturally repaired too. The induced ones are caused by some mutagenic agent, like radiation or toxic substances, physical or chemical influences. Why is it so important to all living beings? Changing is the only way to adapt to a new condition. Without mutation, living organisms would not last much time on the planet Earth. Nowadays, we have a bunch of animal, plants, and other organisms that have been evolving through millennia of the history of our planet. Charles Darwin formulated one of the most important theories about the evolving process, the law of natural selection. His theory says that the aptest living being of a certain species survives and spreads its characteristics to the next generations. That is, the parts of the species that are not adapted dies.
Why mutation is a bad thing sometimes and needs reparation. When we hear about mutation happening in human beings, it's never a good occurrence. Our DNA defines all our characteristics, it's present in all our cells, and is the same until the last second of our lives. The tiniest change could cause a big disturbance. Functions could be messed up, proteins would be synthesized erroneously, and diseases could come through. It's very scary knowing that mutations are happening all the time in our bodies, isn't it? But don't get desperate. Our cells have a big and complex reparation mechanism. If you're healthy and don't have any predisposition to this kind of problem, you don't have to worry. At least, not all the time. In which cases mutation can be good? Whenever it generates positive changes to some species, it's a good mutation. But let's think about a specific situation. Imagine a bacteria or virus. This microorganism is a human parasite and needs to infect as many people as possible. If this virus mutates and gets more likely to kill its host, it's not a good change because the microorganism needs this human to keep alive. But if this virus or bacteria mutates and gets more resistant to medication and also more spreadable, but not mortal, it is a good mutation. Guys, this is the end. Thank you for watching our video. We hope you liked it. Bye and have a good week.